All right, let's see how today goes. We're going to be doing some game design today for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I'm going to need a few moments here for me to get my social media and all that other stuff set up, check my volume. Volume sounds pretty good, so let me go ahead and drop that down so it doesn't get in the way. Yeah, I'm liking how that sits. If you're already familiar with the channel, this is when most people would have like generic music playing saying starting soon, but I don't have a generic screen that says starting soon. I just have pictures of book covers that I've created before and me rambling here on screen with y'all. So if you're catching this in the future and you don't want to have to sit through this, then go ahead and skip ahead like a minute, and we'll be getting into the mess of things then. But if you're trapped here in space-time with me here now, welcome to the mix. How you guys doing? My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons, 5th edition specifically. I've been publishing on the DMsGuild since 2018. I've been a freelance illustrator since '99. And I've been running games in D&D since 1987. So I've got a lot of very, very old school roots. And I am implementing them, taking those old school design elements, and I'm kind of bringing them back into 5e with various ideas. And just depending on what it is that we got going on today is going to be the ideas that we explore. So having said that, if you find today fun, like, subscribe, hit the bell. Hey, new subscribers, thanks a lot, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notification of when we are live in the future. I'm here 10 times per week. Here's a bunch of books that I've already created on the DMsGuild. Hey, I want to give a big shout out to everyone here, just to toot my own horn here real quick. The first book that I ever published back in 2018 here on DMsGuild is the 5-color mana spell point variant rule system, which basically replaces the 8 schools of magic and spell points with the 5-color magic system for Magic the Gathering. I started doing this when they started publishing books for Ravnica, Strixhaven, Theros. We're probably going to see Lorwyn maybe later on this year. It's being hinted at. And it just went gold medal today. So it's been a very slow, long grind. You get the gold medal status when you have 501 sales, which means that. And all of my books are 100% free preview, so don't think this is just a sales pitch. Like, all this stuff, you can read all of these books from cover to cover 100%. And despite the fact that you can read and leave with all the information, 500 people have decided to invest money into this. And I just want to say God bless all you folks. Thank you. I know that Wizards could be handling the IP between Magic the Gathering and Dungeons & Dragons a lot more than they do. And so that means that there's at least a small army of us out here that are actually interested in having more MTG in our D&D. And it's kind of up to us to do it. So let me, today's, so I just wanted to say thank you. That just hit today, and I'm very proud of that. So I wanted to share my appreciation to you folks. So check that stuff out. We're going to be updating all of those books with the 2024 mechanics. I'm working on an Eberron adventure in the mornings, doing the artwork for that book. And once that book publishes, that opens up my workbench to work on new projects. And something that I want to invest time in here on screen with you guys, once I have the bandwidth to do so, is updating the entire color mana system, including the martial power system that we've been streaming off and on here over the past year, that we're currently playtesting over on my Discord channel, so that all 13 classes using the 2024 mechanics, all classes, all characters in D&D can use the color mana system. Multi-class, cross-class, whatever. Everyone has a unified color mana mechanic that they can use to express their characters as like alignments and philosophies, as well as a power resource for actually doing things with class features, spell casting, wielding power, etc. So that's going to be a long project that we're working on. We'll be streaming a ton of that here in the future. If you think MTG stuff is cool, you can check out a lot of my playlists that I already have here on the channel, exploring different MTG ideas expressed in D&D. Like and subscribe if you think that stuff is cool, because there's more of it on the way. Today we're working on the Bastion campaign, which is taking the Bastion concept and the 5e24 DMG and then stepping back to first edition with it so that your characters are actually having a mode of campaign play where advancing your domain and your power base in the world, like from a geopolitical perspective, where you actually influence the world, not just smash a monster, but actually have like a driving political force in the campaign. It's kind of a 4X style of game of gathering resources and then expanding your base of power with it. And your characters have adventures inside of that process as sort of like problem solvers or fixers or as diplomats or trailblazers for your bastion. The adventures become ways for your characters to impact the world to advance the bastion. You can have multiple character groups inside of one bastion, or one group of character can have multiple bastions in different territories around the world, so you can franchise and cross-connect them with each other, have them on ships, have them on different planes of existence. There's a lot of different fun ways that, sorry, there's a weirdness in my water. But there's a lot of different ways that characters can enhance bastions and how bastions can enhance characters. And in the 5e24 book, it's pretty trite. It's more of a flavor text or a descript it's the social pillar of adventure, where you're basically telling a story and perhaps portraying hirelings inside of your bastion doing stuff, but there's no solid game mechanics that accompany it. It's very basic, very, very simple. Sometimes you'll flip a coin to see if something goes one way or the other, but otherwise there's no real mechanics that go into advancing the bastion. So that's what that's what I want to explore with this document. Here's the entire playtest document. It's free to view. It's read only for now, but like everything else that I have on the DMsGuild, it's going to be 100% free preview. So you'll eventually be able to look at the full PDF once we do all the artwork for it and the layouts and all the game design. And there'll be, if you do decide to purchase it, there'll be additional perks like a sortable spreadsheet with all the different things that you can craft and the time frames and the different facilities. We really expanded on that. I think you can check episode 12 of this stream, or episode 34 right now. So I think it's back around episode 12. They were really diving through that item creation process, and it works pretty damn well now. So we're developing different facilities today. So I'm going to take this document here. I'm going to peel this out. And looking at the whole of it, it basically describes what a bastion is in general. There's ranks that you gain in bastions now, independent, not necessarily lockstep with your character's level. The bastion itself can gain levels independently of your character, just like characters can gain renown or piety independently from the levels. So too can a bastion advance, and it advances by accumulating bastion points. And bastion points are a meta currency that, as your bastion gains ranks, each point is worth more gold. And so the big question about 5e is, what the hell am I supposed to do with all this gold? There's no sense to it. Once you get your plate mail and you start equipping magical armor out of dungeons and creatures that you kill, what do you really need to spend your money on? Once you get a spelljamming ship for 60,000 gold, what do you really have to spend any gold on anymore? Well, the Bastion system in the DMG was supposedly a money sink to give you some sort of tangible benefit for accumulating all this gold, but it turns out that the Bastion just actually creates money. So it compounds the problem pretty quickly. This actually gives you a reason to accumulate and spend gold. At first rank, we're talking like a shoe shop, or like your dad's blacksmith shop. At second rank, we're talking about like a hotel, or like a good-sized bar, a nightclub, for instance. Third rank, we're talking about maybe like a shipyard, or like a diamond mine. Fourth rank is like a fortress, like a small, almost like a city-state, not quite that large, but like a settlement, like multiple facilities, and that are like the Library of Alexandria, For example, in Egypt way back when, that would probably be a good example of a 4th rank bastion, because it was massive and had incredible resources, famed to be at its disposal. And then you get up to the 5th rank. We're talking about the dragon mark houses of Eberron, or the guilds of Ravnica. These massive continent or global sprawling organizations that have nearly unlimited resources available to them. That's your scale from 1 mom and pop shoe shop to 5 like the Demir Guild or like House Caniff. That's the scale that we're working at. And then inside of that are settlements like a hamlet or a village or a town, city, metropolis. These two scale up in rank with larger and larger populations that can have multiple bastions all through. I mean, basically the entire settlement is just nothing but a collection of bastions. But as a total together, when they unite, they become a settlement, which also utilizes the same resource system as these bastion ranks based on the population of that settlement. They have more and more resources available to them. So as you spend gold, as you accumulate gold and adventures, you can spend them. And here you can see if you have at least 1 point, 1 bastion point invested into a bastion, it has a facility of some sort, like the mom and the dad and daughter's blacksmith shop might have 1 point in crafting. And what does that smithy shop do? It crafts metalworks, very simple metalworks. Maybe they make daggers, right? Very, very simple, not a lot of resources. To set that up, basically 100 gold is 100 gold per point. But by the time you accumulate 10 bastion points, you can upgrade to a 2nd rank facility, and each of these points now become worth 1,000 gold. Instead, I need to add an extra 0 there. They're worth 1,000 gold, not 100 gold apiece. And by the time you get to 20 bastion points, you're now looking at a 3rd rank facility, and that has 10,000 gold piece value, and then 100,000 gold piece value, and then 1,000,000 gold piece value. By the time you get to the 3rd rank, this is going to be pushing you on like exactly how much gold are you really accumulating on your adventure. And if you accumulate 20,000 experience points, they're immediately gone because you purchased 2 points to expand your bastion. Or you you issue orders for your bastion to go gather more resources to naturally expand itself over time as well. So you can spend gold to build, or you can have the bastion generate enough bastion points as a meta resource to then expand itself independently of how much gold there is. And then instead of having to worry about coin, it's you have a pocket of cash, which is generally going to be less than the value of a bastion point. 1st, 2nd, 3rd level characters are probably going to have a couple hundred experience points at most. Like a 5th to 9th level character, a couple thousand gold, some nice gems on them. That makes sense. Once you get to 3rd plus rank, like double-digit characters, like you really don't need to be packing around more than 10,000 gold on you. You really don't. If you do, you're peddling some sort of influence, and your bastion as a geopolitical resource has better ability to peddle influence than a pocket full of gems could off of your character. Your character acting through the bastion could enact great change in a community or even a whole nation, but that would generally not be expressed on the individual character level. That is your character wielding this power through your dominion or your bastion to be able to enforce these edicts that you're negotiating or declaring upon communities. So if you need gold, you could liquidate a bastion point as basically selling off some of your resources to get a pocket of cash that you would need for whatever reason. But generally speaking, once you get to 3rd, 4th, 5th, like once your character is like 13th level plus, you're not really saying, yeah, I need 300,000 gold to do this deal. Instead, it's more like, I'm willing to help you, but I want you to invest 3 bastion points worth of resources into expanding my facilities so that I can add an outpost here in town just to make sure that I keep an eye on things with you. invest those points for me to set up that shop, and I'll happily help you protect this community because now it's mine too. Like, that's a much more intuitive and reasonable means of creating a currency exchange inside of your game. And so that you can completely walk away at this point from any kind of gold value involved with your with your bastion or the campaign in general. Once you have a bastion, you can, instead of, like I said, tallying gold, you now use an action to go to maintain. You maintain a lifestyle. So the bastions are making ability checks. Your bastion has ability modifiers. And you roll the dice, and the difficulty of a lifestyle has a DC that scales up. If you roll below a 10, it's kind of like a death saving throw, you're going bankrupt. And if you go bankrupt 3 times before you're able to stabilize your bastion's income, or the lifestyle of your bastion, the bastion degrades a level. Like, you lose however many points needed for you to drop to the next level. And so that basically represents like your resources getting ganked, or people leaving you, or like a fire happening, or whatever. It's a loss of resources in your facilities that need to be rebuilt because you weren't able to maintain a lifestyle for your facility. But the higher you roll, the better your lifestyle is for your characters and all the hirelings inside the bastion. And what that represents is how profitable right now is your bastion, is the operations that you've set up. So now you don't have to worry about gold at all. When your characters want gear, they commission the facility, your bastion, to create specific gear that you want. Or you could have a trade network that can find that piece of gear that you need, or you can enter an auction to win that gear, but you don't specifically have to worry about paying for it because all of the money in the bastion system is subsumed into the cost per bastion point as a resource, which is just a huge gold sink, but can be liquidated to become gold if necessary for an odd circumstance. But this takes gold out of the equation, so you don't have to worry about handling it anymore. And it also creates a flavor for your bastion. If you're typically hitting a modest or comfortable lifestyle, that's going to have a different narrative flair than if you're consistently or specifically investing resources into your bastion to be able to hit a wealthy or an aristocratic lifestyle, because that's the kind of that's the kind of air that you want to have around your dominion. How you doing, Steve? It's good to see you. Yeah, exactly. How plush is your lifestyle? And if it's worse than poor, it's literally not safe there. The doors can't stay locked. There's fire and health concerns. Stuff keeps disappearing. The people that you hire are criminals, and they act like it at work. It becomes a dangerous place, so it just naturally erodes. So that becomes like a death saving throw. If you have an unstable economy for 3 ticks before you're able to stabilize it with 3 ticks, just like with the death saving throw system, you lose a rank. And once you're at first rank and you destabilize again, then basically your bastion goes bankrupt, or it burns down, or it's completely shelled out, looted, bombed, whatever. It's gone, and you have to build a new one. But again, you can just take gold from your adventure and dump gold into replacing bastion points that you lose to stabilize your bastion at a certain level, whatever's affordable at the level of character that you are. But once you can stabilize your bastion, you don't have to worry about gold anymore at all. So, and then there's the conflict system where like espionage can sabotage your resources and take bastion points away from you. There's warfare, where you're going and specifically looting and plundering a settlement to take resources from them. So there's a way for you to acquire resources, either gold from adventurers through looting, basically spoils of war. And we have a very simple warfare mechanic in here that works really well. Very simple, but it's effective. And then there's like auctions or liquidating resources in your bastion to we're accumulating auctions. Like you can go into auction to like buy off resources from like another bastion that's crumbling, or like a tax lien against the facility. You could go into auctions to win points, bastion points that way. to have your bastion accumulate, and then you can lose points obviously through being looted, sabotage, plundered from war. You can sell off resources to convert them to gold if it's necessary, and then you can just flat out swap bastion points with other bastions to acquire different resources. So like if you needed a Spelljammer ship, and that Spelljammer ship that you wanted is worth 60,000 gold, well, if you're a 4th rank bastion, you just give them a point. So you lose 1 point on, like if you had 37 points, it's like, yeah, I'm going to give you one of my bastion points, and in exchange, you're going to give me a 250-foot hammerhead ship with a spelljamming helm ready to go, because we want to expand out into space. Like it costs nothing technically for your characters to do that, but in world, you gave them a massive organization, just gave the shipwright a huge resource, like a large cash purse for them to be able to expand their own resources as a result of selling you that ship. But like if you're only a 2nd rank bastion with only maybe 1 to 9,000 gold worth of property value, that 60,000 gold piece ship is like, you're going to have to come up with some way to find the other 50,000 gold. You're kind of shy. So that becomes a quest for you to be able to, like, maybe your quest isn't like, I need to find 50,000 gold. Instead, it's, hey, shipwright, what task can I perform for you that's worth the bastion points that costs 50,000 gold for you? Like if you're a 4th rank shipwright and each bastion point you gain is worth 100,000 gold pieces, all I have to do is find you a way to add 1 bastion point to your facilities, and that's paid for the ship, right? So now what quest plot hooks can the DM hang out there that's worth a ship to this organization that could purchase that ship for you? And that's a really great way for you to build and hinge a campaign around your character's actions utilizing the bastion system. You can advance your own bastion. You can advance causes of other settlements and facilities so that they can tack on more resources to themselves. Like you could take over a dungeon and find out that there's like copper ore in there, secure that dungeon, and then sell it off to the highest bidder. And as a result of that, you now have established a copper mine in this dungeon, which is its own like 1 point of bastion resources for harvesting iron, harvesting ore out of this copper mine dungeon. Now it's who wants it, who's this most valuable to, and that connects your characters to whoever that purchasing bastion is. Like you could be renting them rights to this copper mine dungeon, and you're going to make sure that the dungeon doesn't cause problems. You become stewards of that place, and now you have an economic connection to whatever settlement purchased the rights to that copper mine. So now you have influence in that community, and you can start building facilities inside of that community that attach to the copper mine that you acquired through your dungeon delve, like at 1st level. So these are ways that you can take this bastion system and bind it to the actions that your characters are taking, so that they can again start influencing the world and the settlements and the different cultures around them. That's the theme of this. That's why we're bothering, and why we're calling it the Bastion Campaigns as opposed to like better bastions, right? I mean, I will put myself out there and stick out my neck and say I think this is a better bastion system than what Wizards did, but I'm proving it by taking everything that Wizards did with bastions and building them into this document, saying, look, all this stuff is here. You can do any of this stuff that you want with the bastion system that we've built for you, but here's how you codify it. Here's how you can implement it into your campaign, and here's how you can actually manipulate wealth inside the game campaign economy to make the bastion system work. So that's the broad premise and the vision of what this project is, because I love that Dominion style of geopolitical impact in the game. Like a lot of my campaigns are themed around what can we do to influence the cultures or settlements, like the cultures and communities around us. What don't we like that's happening in society that we need to have influence to be able to change? How do we acquire that influence? And once we do, how far can we push change? And that becomes the theme of the campaign. Like if you're running a 1 to 20 campaign, somewhere around level 7 to 8, the characters are maybe as early as 5, the players will latch on to something that they want to change about the campaign world from a cultural, like an in-game perspective. Like, not like we don't want to be swashbucklers. We want to play, we want to play desert raiders. It's not like that. We see that society could work better from our character's perspective. And what are all the things that we need to do throughout the course of our character's career to be able to make the change that we can see we could have on this campaign world? And if you have a stable group, you go through that process, they make the change, and then when you run your next campaign, they can see how that change plays out in the background while they're doing their own campaign stuff. So when you have like the Eberron campaign that I'm running, I think I'm on my 5th campaign now, going from level 1 to 20, which started in 3rd edition, rolled into 5th edition, and now we're on our 5th campaign. And the world has continued to update and adapt and change to the decisions that the characters make. And then when they do their 20th level epilogue, where they can have enough power to actually change the world, they implement what they want to see have happen, and then we adjust the world of Eberron accordingly so that it becomes a living world that they continue to evolve with. And all of that's because they're coming from a perspective of the actions that we take can actually enact change in the world on a geopolitical level and change cultures. And this is helping provide mechanics to actually do that. So, lands and titles, right on, man. Kobold Copper Miners. Chapter 7, bankruptcy. That would be funny if I worked that out. Okay, so that's the long background spiel. I got that done in 30 minutes from hello, my name is Phil Kearney to let's get to work. That's the story. So that's what we're doing here. I've got about 2.5 hours or so for me to continue working on the document. So that's what we're going to do today. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be back doing more Eberron art. In the morning. I do that Monday through Friday. And then tomorrow lunch, I might work on Spell Point Sorcerers tomorrow. We're putting out MTG books. Maybe we'll work on Sorcerers some more. That's actually really close to being ready to go. And we've been playtesting. I've been playtesting it in a Curse of Strahd game for the past year. And it's been fun. And it's been working out. It's not really more powerful than what a sorcerer normally is. It's just the color mana system is different. So it approaches it differently. So all that set aside, what are we working on right now? So let's go down to the stepping past. We're going to have to codify exactly how do each one of these orders work. Right now we have a lot of different ways that orders work. Like maintaining a lifestyle for the Bastion has a certain process that we follow, a procedure that we follow to verify how solvent your Bastion is or how wealthy or unstable it is. But then also as a maintained task, we have governorship, which is like you insert a bureaucratic body that has authority over a settlement. Like your Bastion becomes a settlement by investing points and issuing an order to govern the settlement. So you're basically permanently, like, you get so many orders per rank, and if you were to use one of your Bastion's orders to govern a settlement, you're basically establishing a bureaucracy or some sort of a rulership government system under your control as an order. Make sure this settlement stays solvent, just govern the settlement. And so that way you are establishing so you have a settlement, which is a broad swath of land where you can put buildings for harvesting materials, crafting things, and just building homes or whatever. So there's the resource of holding land, and then there's the order of making sure that it's stewarded. So you can have a facility, which is a settlement, and then you issue an order to govern that settlement so that everyone can accumulate wealth and blah blah blah. So there's different ways, and then we have also a maintained order of like franchising, where not like a settlement, but like you're creating you're creating separate bastions that are subservient to your bastion. So like I have like my civic center might be my bastion. I'm issuing an order to govern the surrounding 50 miles of land in my city state, and I'm also using my bastion points to establish other bastions, like a fortress over there, or like a trade route over there, and like there's a diamond mine over here, and then there's hills over there that I can pull quarry rocks from, and down in the glade we've got like fields, crops that we can harvest for food. So like these are all different locations inside of the settlement that can be that can have different facility points allocated to them, just like you can invest points into a smithy next to a workshop, next to a laboratory, and an armory inside of your actual like bastion, like your bastion building. You could have multiple bastions like that scattered throughout one settlement or multiple settlements. Like if I'm going to franchise, I might have like maybe I'm going to build my bastion around like say a temple to Tyr and the god of war. So I'm going to have my main temple, like say I grew up in Waterdeep. I establish my main temple inside the Temple of Tyr. That's already in Waterdeep. I expand those facilities, and I set up another church like in Baldur's Keep. I set up another one in 10 Towns. I go all the way out to Calamsham and set up a pilgrimage there. So I have these different sub bastions that are operating underneath the tenets and ruling of the cathedral of Tyr. It has all these little churches that are satellites in different areas, but they all act the same. They're under governance by the main church, but instead of being like squatting on a piece of land and dictating orders and taxes and all that stuff for the community that's there, these are inserted into other people's communities and having a cultural impact, kind of like in the Civilization game. You could purchase new hexes to expand your territories, or you could dump a bunch of resources into culture and religion and then infect the cultures and religions of other societies that are that are in proximity to you. So like that's another way of approaching this. But it all uses there's similar but different mechanics that exist in all of these ideas. So we're going through the process of unifying mechanics so that when you roll a die, you're going to generally know what that means regardless of what kind of an order you've issued. So that's one of our major goals. Hey, Francois. That's one of our major goals. And our other goal, for us to get to the point where we can standardize what the orders do. And there's only 7 orders in the DMG, so we limit ourselves to 7 orders as well: crafting, empower, harvesting, maintain, recruit, research, and trade. Those are the 7 orders that Wizards came up with that you could issue as orders to your bastions. So we're keeping that same structure because this book is designed to enhance and expand the bastion system that's in the DMG, not create an entirely different role-playing game. That's what Guild Delvers is for. The role-playing game that I've been developing with my home table is to lean into that as a standalone system. But we'll talk about that next year at some point when it's ready to go. So for now, working inside of the within the parameters of what the bastion system is in the DMG, we're going to want to expand we want to standardize and expand what an order is, because there's all sorts of orders that can be issued in the DMG, but there's not a lot of consistency or patterning behind what they do, other than generally it scales to the level of your characters that would have this thing. But that's a very loose tenet. We can tighten up that mechanical language so that we can build something that can be replicatable for other people that want to lean into the Bastion campaign concept, but build out new facilities that we don't have listed here. We want to standardize how orders operate so that when you look at the thing, you just intuitively understand, like if I wanted to, I don't know, like make a moat house, or like, I don't know, whatever, like a gatehouse. If we wanted to make a gatehouse, a very specific type of facility, that we would know what kind of orders we could attach to that gatehouse and once we do, what those orders would do. So we want it to be intuitive, that it's like, hey, I built a gatehouse as a facility. Oh, cool. That probably has like the ability to maintain so that you could use that as a defense point in case your settlement gets attacked. It probably has like something to do with trade, maybe, since it's a gateway in and out of the marketplace within your settlement. It could have an impact on the on trade orders that come through, of like being able to maybe increase, like give you an advantage or something when you make a trade roll, because you have this gateway that all the merchants are coming through as basically a long column of you seen, basically as a laundry list of all the different merchants that are going to be active in your community, that might like set up an advantage so that if you're going to want to interact with people, you can do so as they're coming through the gate on their way to like the bazaar, for instance. So like, and then like those would be the intuitive things that would be set up. It could be like an order that you could issue would be defense, which lock the gates, which then gives you advantage on being able to increase the difficulty of damaging your community. And then what would be another pretty intuitive thing to do with that? Maybe a recruiting order to be able to have a town crier or a message board at that gate that invites people to perform tasks on behalf of the settlement, like a jobs board. You could establish a jobs board as like an order that like update the jobs board, so that becomes a skill check that you would make, and the higher you roll, the more qualified adventurers end up taking your notices and performing tasks for you. So that could be a way for you to outsource orders to third-party adventuring teams, that if they fail, they blame you, and now you have to do something to try to clean up your reputation. But if they succeed, they bring this resource, this magic item, this person that you were looking for instance. They could become a way, like, that's a really fun idea. And since we have things like that exist inside the game already, the recruiting order, that's a structured pattern that we have. Defending your settlement, that's an established pattern that we have. Being able to gain advantage like on trade checks, that's something that we're establishing a pattern for right now. So once we have all that pattern, you can kind of flip through different facilities. It's like, oh, I could take that, and that, and call that a gatehouse, or that, and that, and call that like a lookout, like a lookout post, or like this, and this, a toll bridge. Like, these are different things that you could set up as like unique facilities, but you're kind of just like mix and matching the things that it can do, so that like the 30 things we have in here like become examples, but not the only things. You can like they say in the DMG, you can reskin a monster and swap out like its damage types and its attack structures and like its defenses and their resistances. You can mix and match monsters to make new monsters. Similarly, we can mix and match. Once we establish the pattern, we can mix and match what facility benefits there are to create new facilities that use the same structured rules. That's kind of the idea. So, hey, what's up? Hey, Fox. Fish cannery. Yes. Sorry, I have that reminds me of the dream of retiring in Alaska, working at a cannery, and streaming in the mountains after work. So I never quite got there. I only got as far as Seattle, but and Alaska requires a lot of driving, and I'm too blind to drive. So that idea kind of fell apart, but it was a fun one to think of. But fish cannery is close to my heart. So anyway, I digress. So what we're doing right now is once we understand and can codify what orders can do, that simplifies that process. For us to get to the point of codifying orders, we need to finish codifying facilities. So the facilities implement the orders, and they provide benefits and perks to characters and the Bastion itself. So we've got 30 some odd Bastion facilities here. 29 came from the DMG, and then we tacked on a bunch extra ourselves as well. And we're going through what orders can each of them have, What rank is it appropriate that you're like, what rank of a bastion do you need to be able to install these facilities in the first place? And once you do, what are the benefits that they provide to you? So we've going back to, let's go back to the bus, back, all the way back to the back. We've been establishing we've basically been going through and looking at all these things. So if we go to our facilities, so these are the 4 things that facilities should be able to do for you in game. These are gamified mechanics. Improving orders, the higher rank your order is, the more of a bonus you get to your ability check. So it's easier to accomplish those orders, or you can, with difficulty, achieve more difficult tasks. There's passive features, and I think we're going to change. I think we've changed that to facility benefits. Oh no, Bastion benefits. I think, is that what we're calling it? Hold on. Let me go back down to where that is, because we were codifying that stuff, and I'm pretty sure I swapped everything over. Yeah, there we go. Improvements, facility benefits, and then we have downtime activities. And so the facility benefits are like passive bonuses that you get, kind of like feats. You can just always use them. So facility benefits, and I'm not 100% on that name yet, but these are like when you install this facility, this is a benefit that your Bastion gets from that facility. And it's like, there you go. And then there's downtime activities, which is if your characters don't go adventuring this week and instead spend their downtime in this facility, they can do this thing. And whatever this thing is depends on what facility you're inside of. Normally gain some sort of a benefit, some sort of a boon, charm, item, or like magical item. Like that's generally what it can do. It gives your characters a thing. And then there's facility orders, which is like, like defend the settlement, or establish a new trade route, or find me that thing, or go harvest ore from that cobalt copper mine, for instance. Those are maintain a lifestyle for the Bastion. These are orders that you issue, and you have one order plus your rank. That's the number of orders that you can issue at any given time, and we're calculating things basically on a weekly basis. So when the campaign is running in full tilt, at the beginning of each Bastion turn or the beginning of each week, you're issuing X amount of orders to your guild, to your Bastion to perform. And then depending on the results of those checks, that's what creates complications that become seeds of adventure for your characters to go on, or they succeed and it opens up new opportunities that the teams can then use as adventure hooks to expand and explore to see what new options have opened up for them through their Bastion or for their characters. So like those 2 modes of wheels and woe, those 2 gears of success and failure create adventure hooks to expand your character's goals. So the entire campaign through the Bastion actions becomes a progressively generated campaign. That's the premise. So we've worked through improve orders well. That works. We resolved both the facility benefits and downtime activities last session and the session before that. And so now we're working on what type of orders are we issuing to the facilities. And once we go through looking at all those orders, we can then pan out a little bit and look for the patterns inside of all these things. We've found patterns in the orders. We've found patterns in the facility benefits for the most part. Like we've codified them. They all use the same sort of language now. So there's still some specific mechanics like prerequisites and stuff like that that we can iron out to see how easy it is to implement these things, or how many hoops do we need characters to jump through before they can get access to that that benefit. That's something that's still up in the air. And then the downtime activities, we've, for the most part, codified how those work. And so now we're looking at the facility orders, which is, again, what we talked about at the top of the document. We need to codify those things. So that today is part of that process. So, I guess starting at the beginning, we're just going to go through the 30 some odd facilities. I don't expect to get through all of them today, but we've already done a lot of work on what these orders are, so I don't anticipate too much trouble. This is improvements. We're currently calling them improvements. Maybe we should call them order improvements. It could be like Bastion benefits sounds horrible, but that facility benefits sounds best, but it's more accurate to call it Bastion benefits. Like Bastion perks sounds too trite. It's not the right language. We'll find the right language. That's like our least concerns. If the mechanics work, the language will come through. But then downtime activities and facility orders. So let's do this. So the armory orders. So we already know that an armory can improve crafting and power, can improve the craft order, empower order, maintain order, and trade order. Every time I put a point into the armory facility, I can increase one of these orders. And the facility, it has a benefit that when you make the maintain check, whenever I roll a maintain check, whether it's to if it's to maintain a lifestyle for the characters and the hirelings in the Bastion, or to defend it from harm, or to auction off points, having an armory allows you, when you make that check, you can roll an additional. The Bastion die is the modifier that the order gives you. So like if I have say 1 point in maintain, then I would add a D4 to my ability check for the Bastion. If I have 3 points in maintain, it'd be a D8. So it's D4, D6, D8, D10, D12, 5 points tops out at D12. I can't have regardless of how many points I put into the maintain order through different facilities or the same, I don't get credit for more ranks than the rank of the Bastion. So if I had 15 points through different facilities all dumped into maintain, but I'm only a third rank Bastion right now because I only have 17 points and 15 of them have gone into maintain, I'm still only rolling a D8 because my Bastion isn't large enough yet to support that die represents not only the resources available to the Bastion, but also the hirelings that are working together, the caliber of workers or the number of workers you have working towards achieving that order. And so the higher rank Bastion you get, the more specialized or abundant the manpower it is that you have and the resources available to them to complete this task. So that's why the die goes up as you gain ranks. So I could have a ton of points dumped into maintain, but if I'm only a third rank Bastion, then I'm still only going to roll a D8. By the time I get up to 30 points total, that'll give me 1 point, 10 points, 20 points, 30 points. Once I get to 50 or more, 40 or more points in my Bastion, I will then have a D12. I'll be able to have a D12. I'll be 5th rank as a Bastion. That'll give me my top D12. If I already have 15 points dumped into different facilities for the maintain order, I've already cleared that hurdle. As soon as I hit 5th rank as a Bastion, I can dump. I can roll a D12 on top of my ability check for any maintain order that I issue. And we saw that there was governing, franchising, maintaining a lifestyle, defending the Bastion itself from harm. These are all different maintain orders that can be issued. And we're always going to be adding a D12. Well, if I have an armory, I get to roll that D12 twice and keep the best result and add that to my ability check. So facility benefits, for the most part, are basically giving me a form of a stacking advantage on the proficiency bonus that I get for any order that I issue to my Bastion. The armory doesn't have any downtime activities specifically. Neither does the arcane study. So improvements, facility benefits, no downtime activities. And then orders are the next thing. So obviously I should have started, I always think armory is the first, but it's actually the arcane study that's first. So improvements, craft and power and research. Hold on, let's go to the armory real quick. Does it really have 4 things? 1, 2, 3, yeah. Armory's got a lot of stuff going on. That's awesome. Right, arcane study. So it can improve crafting, which is making non-magical items, empowering, which is making magical items, out of non-magical items, and then research, which is discovering information that you don't currently know, which could be like a spell or the name of a demon or the floor plans to a castle that you want to raid, or the name of the hidden son of the king, all the bastard sons of the king. What are their names and where are they at? Like, these are all things that could be researched. So that's what research does. So we can improve the crafting, empowering, and researching orders by advancing our arcane study. There are no facility benefits. There are no downtime activities, but that might change as we go through this process. So the orders that we know that we can issue, and I'll go ahead and bold that, is to issue the craft order to create non-magical items. And we have a list here at the back of the book for what items can be crafted in the arcane study. So we come down here and we're looking at like adventuring gear. Like for example, the arcane study, where is one? Here it is. Like if I wanted to make a map, I could make that map with the crafting. I could issue an order to my to the hirelings in my arcane study to, hey, make me a map of this place. So they would then, I only have, like, say at 3rd rank, I only have 4 orders that I can issue. I just issued one of my orders is to give me a map that I can use. Another arcane, what's another arcane study thing that we can do? Arcane study, you can make a scholar's pack. Like, put all the things that you would need from the arcane study here. Just assemble a scholar's pack. Let's go hit the road. Or is that it? There's not a lot of stuff you can make with an arcane study that's mundane, like non-magical. It really comes into its own when we're making magic items, though. Because arcane study can basically make any kind of arcane object. So, like an arcane study, anything that's labeled as arcana in the magic items section, for example, an arcane study can make literally any arcana. You can also make scrolls with the arcane study. Oh, no, that's not true. The arcane study, you can... we should probably change that, actually. Arcane study for staff wands. I think I was trying to avoid scrolls becoming a universal thing while also giving like the scriptorum something interesting to do. So I think I specifically chose to nerf arcane study out of making scrolls so you'd have a reason to diversify more. Yeah, that feels true. Greenhouse. Yeah, this needs to be updated as well. Anyway, we'll update that. But here you can see that we've broken down every item in the player's handbook in DMG into what type of materials do you need to be able to make it, like whether mineral, plant, or animal material. The rarity based on its cost, 100 gold, 400 gold, 4,000 gold, 40,000 gold, or 200,000 gold, based on common, uncommon, rare, very rare, and legendary items, gold value of magic items in the DMG. So like a ballista costs like 500, it costs 250 gold to make a ballista, which is more than 100 but less than 400, so that makes it an uncommon rarity value. And then you can make a ballista in an armory, in a smithy, or in a workshop. There you go. So you want a ballista? Get some plant and mineral and mineral materials like wood and metal, and then build. There you go. Easy. I have one of these facilities, and you just build the thing. Easy peasy. If I don't have one of these facilities, I can't make a ballista, but I could trade for one. So I could issue a trade order to go have my hirelings go find a ballista and bring it here. Instead of making it ourselves, we could trade for it. So trade is an alternate route for us to be able to basically get any gear that we want without necessarily having to say that we make it ourselves. Unless you want to make gear yourself. So I want to make my own ballistas because the problems I have if something goes wrong is different than if I'm trading for it. Like if we want to make it an electric car battery, we need to make sure we're not at war with China right now, because you can't make car batteries without China right now. So, like, maybe you want to stick with a combustible engine until you figure that relationship out. Like, there's the difference between crafting and trade that's a very great demonstration of that. Like, no one can do what China can do when it comes to making batteries. So, like, switching your military over to an electric engine is probably a really bad idea if you ever plan on going to war with China. So keep that in mind. As like a very finite example. So here's our orders. Issue the craft order to make non-magical items. Empower. Issue the empower order to create magical items, which can be arcana, charm, ring, rod, staff, and wands. Wanderers items. Let's see. Arcana. To create arcane magic items. I think I want to point that out specifically. Research. Issue the research order to describe a new arcane spell onto a scroll that can be added to a spell book or added to a character's list of prepared spells. That's a language clash because we took them off of the list of who can create scrolls. Maybe it's appropriate to put scrolls back on the table. Okay, I will acquiesce to that decision because it seems like the most intuitive one. Boy, that makes the arcane study a real powerhouse. I might decide to like nerf like wondrous items, like get rid of wondrous items, get rid of wands, staffs. I don't know. Maybe I want to trim that down a little bit. Yeah, we can't currently make charms here, for instance. Like, I'm going to have to update that. Like, currently we can't make charms. So that goes away. Is that true? Charms. Arcane study. Reliquary. Nope, that cannot not be true. Research, craft, empower. Issue the empower order. That's right. We separated it. We separated it as a separate action because it doesn't follow the normal creation mechanics. So empower. I need to go find empower someplace else. Hold on. It's down here somewhere. Oh, that's right. Charm is no longer something that you craft. Charm is a facility benefit. That's right. So we do have a facility benefit for that. Hold on. We just forgot to implement it. Let's go find one. There's one down here. Reliquary's got them. Here we go. Meditation chamber. Downtime activity. Here we go. Divine charm. A character that spends a bastion turn of downtime activity using this facility gains the benefit of a divine charm, based on your level and the rank of the facility. There we go. So yeah, the arcane study does in fact there. There. And then order. I'm debating. I'm debating whether or not your character has to be at the facility to be able to create the spell or not. The Bastion would help you create by adding the Bastion die to your character's ability check, but should we allow the arcane study to create spells without your character being there? My gut says no. Arcane Charm. Capitalize. The advantage of making it an order is mishaps. That something could go wrong. Your character, well, something could go wrong with your character involved anyway. One of the generic downtime activities that can be performed in any facility is if it's an order that can be issued to the facility as a downtime activity, your character can use their ability check and add the Bastion die instead of the ability check of the Bastion itself. And the characters are almost always going to be better than the Bastion is. So it's almost always a win if your character has the time to do that themselves. Not only does it not require an order to do so because you're using your downtime activity resource for your character's time instead of tying up the time of the facilities. So that's a way to free up an order by having your character do it themselves. They still get the benefit of the Bastion die. Let's see. So yeah, I think in that sense I want to leave it as research because then that's something that the characters can do as well. Yeah, I like that idea. I think I'm good with that. So, okay, so those orders are good. So I get to do that. So like in the future, I don't necessarily have to, like, the mechanics for a charm work the same in every facility. It's just a matter, is it an arcane, divine, or druidic charm? But this whole block here, that's the same no matter what. And but this creating a creating a spell, it basically uses the same mechanics as creating a magic item does. The rarity level sets the DC, but the rarity level of the rarity level is set by the spell level, and this already corresponds with what's in the DMG for magic items. So this just intuitively connects with how the game works. So I don't technically need this, but it's unique. Well, the arcane study, issue the research order to describe a new arcane spell. So that's an order for an arcane spell, and that's scribing a new arcane spell. And that technically means I need some place to research a new druidic spell and a place to research a new divine spell. But that also, once the martial powers book comes out, we could also use like a barracks or like an armory or a training area to research a new martial power as well. Rank 1 to 5, martial power rank 1 to 5. Similar, very, very, very duplicatable patterning there. Yeah, that's good. But this is basically, if I didn't have to have this, and I didn't have to have this, if I established in the orders, like the research and the empower orders up above, if I establish this pattern as part of those orders, then I can eliminate this language from the description, simply saying you can craft spells with the research order, and you'll know how to do that. Because you'll look at the research order and it'll say to research a spell, this is what you roll. And then it's just a matter of what type of spell can you research in this facility. But we'll have up top how research works. That makes sense to me. That's a pattern that can be replicated, which means that we can eventually eliminate it. Right now what we're doing is we're adding, like we already have the crafting and the empower orders codified and up in the orders section. We don't have research codified yet for creating spells. So I'm going to leave it here for now. And when we finish all of these, we're going to see how many of these are using like these stacks, like to demonstrate like for example, this facility, the crypt. The facility benefit is once per day, the crypt can target a body with divine magic, granting the benefits of any spell listed up to the rank of the bastion. So if I bring a body into the crypt, once per day, if I'm first rank, I could cast Gentle Repose on that character. So I could transport them to another facility someplace else in another settlement that is a higher rank that could raise or resurrect that body. So we're putting Gentle Repose on it so that it doesn't run out of time on its Raise Dead spell. But if I had a third rank facility, if I had a third rank bastion myself already, then once per day I could cast the Raise Dead spell on anybody that I drag in there, assuming it's within the time frame. It's like this is a unique thing to the crypt because of the spells that are used. This pattern is consistent throughout a lot of different facilities, but this is unique to the crypt. It's like this actually belongs here as its own thing. And I should probably give it a clever title of some sort of like Bring Back the Dead or something like that. Bring Out Your Dead, something like that. When making a maintain check, you can roll an additional bastion die, adding the highest roll to the result of the check. I don't necessarily understand right now why we have that there. It's not, because it was a defense thing, because the maintain order is technically for defense. So like, did I want to, like when making a maintain check to protect, when making maybe it should be like when issuing the maintain order to protect your bastion, you can roll an addition bastion die. That might be the way that we need to change this to make it more accurate. But that's one of the things that we're going through. So anyway, I'm rambling about how I'm rambling, like I'm explaining how I'm going to ramble, which is some super layered meta shit, and I can only apologize. Downtime activities, improvements, I think I'm okay with that. So this is good for now. This is a good starting point. Like this is all what an arcane study can do, which is actually a fuck ton of shit. You can do a lot. Archive up next. When making a research check, you can roll an additional bastion die, adding the highest roll to the result. Like so, if I had an archive and an arcane study, and I issued the research order to craft a spell, and I have an archive in my facility as well, an archive facility, I'm now going to roll 2 dice for my basically gain advantage on that research check to be able to hit the mark that I need to make the spell. Like these two things synergize with each other naturally. You can issue the research order to study a specific. This is also something that is heavily codified throughout multiple facilities using the same pattern of behavior, which is you can issue the research order to study a specific topic, gaining the benefit of the contact other plane spell. Which the contact others plane spell is you can ask a question and the DM will give you an answer. The result of the roll determines the number of questions you can ask about the topic. So it's really difficult. Unless you're a 4th rank bastion, you're not going to get a DC 30. Because like a 3rd rank bastion is going to roll a D20 plus 3 plus D8. Wait, no, it could technically hit a 31. If you roll both if you hit both a 7 or 8 and a 19 or 20 on your die rolls, you could potentially pull off 5 questions, but most likely you're going to get 1 or 2 questions at 3rd rank. So, and if you roll below 10, you get a complication. So something bad happens. Let's look at bad real quick. Hold on, D&D Beyond. Contact other plane. You can ask the entity up to 5 questions. You must ask your questions before the spell ends. The DM answers each question with 1 word: yes, no, maybe, never, irrelevant, or unclear. If the entity doesn't know the answer to the question, if a 1-word answer would be misleading, the DM might instead offer a short phrase. On a failed save, okay, that's not the right spell to use. What spell are we supposed to use there? Hold on. I thought Contact Other Plane actually like told you shit. Let's go. This is my color mana spell list. Each spell is broken down into white, blue, black, red, and green, but it's also a master list of spells. So it's easy to thumb through this. God, I really thought Contact Other Plane was the answer to that. What spell is it? I feel like I'm going crazy. Where's Legend Lore? Hold on. Now I really feel like I'm going crazy. Is it 4th level? Legend Lore, 5th level spell, 2014, 2024. Legend, okay, there it is. It still exists. I'm not crazy. Okay, let's look that up real quick. I really feel like I'm crazy about Contact Other Plane. Hold on. Let's look at the 24. Let's look at the legacy. Nope. Yeah, yes, no, maybe so. Okay. Legend Lore is obviously the answer I'm actually looking for then. Let's do that. Legend Lore. I feel like I'm missing something. Like there's something that tells you an answer to shit. I feel like I'm going crazy. There you go, buddy. The spell brings to mind a brief summary of the significant lore about the famous thing as described by the DM. The lore might consist of important details, amusing revelations, or even secret lore that has never been widely known. The more information you already know about the thing, the more precise the detailed information you receive is. The information is accurate, but might be couched in figurative language. If the famous thing you chose isn't actually famous, you hear a sad musical note instead. Clairvoyance? No. Am I crazy? Wasn't there a thing that was like you can ask X questions and get answers to them? Am I forgetting what edition of D&D we're in? I feel like I'm going mad. It is. Okay. You're certain. You're sure it's a divine spell. So you know what I'm talking about, right? It just doesn't exist. I am not catching it. Commute. Oh. Thank you. There we go. Thank you. God, Francois, on point. Yet again, high five, my guy. Freaking high five. Ask up to 3 questions. I can answer yes or no. You can must ask your question. Hold on. That lies beyond the deity's knowledge. Nope. You contact a deity or divine proxy and ask up to 3 questions that can be answered with yes or no. You must ask your question before the spell ends. You receive a correct answer for each question. Well, that's no. That's not what we want. Fuck all. Contact other plane just gives you more of these. Augury gives you 1. Contact other commune gives you 3, and then contact other plane gives you 5. But none of them. They're all answered with yes, no, maybe so, sad trombone. Fuck all. You can, okay, we have to reword these then. You can issue the research order to study a specific topic. Check the... Let's go. Let's try this. No, it's cryptic answer stuff. Okay. Okay, well, I guess we'll just go with the cleric list. You know what? We should go by spell. We should go by name. All right. Let the quest begin. This is a +2 skill bonus. Yeah, proficiency in a skill. Yes, no, unclear. Yes, no, maybe so. Luckily, there's only 7 pages. Divine word is damage. Etherealness, fast friends, find the path, find traps, forbiddance, gate, gash. Oh, wait a second. Maybe It's like planar binding or something, maybe? Insight greed. Legend lore. Again, this tells you everything about something. Maybe that's the way to use it. You gain the benefits of the legend lore spell, being able to ask a number of questions and you get an accurate answer. That's probably how we're after going to go with it. So I think the answer is going to be legend lore. But let's overturn all of our stones first. Motivational speech. Ack Inc, man, I tell you. Targeting must succeed in Christian saving throw will be bound in a certain sense. The creature was summoned and create another spell. A bound creature must follow your commands. Best of the ability might command a creature to accompany you on an adventure. The creature carries out your commands completely, gets freed, blah. Nope. Almost done. We'll probably end up using the legend lore information. Scrying, sending, shield, silence, spare, speak, spirit, spirit. Temple of the Gods, tongue, toll. True resurrection, true seeing. Nope, nope. Let's see. Gaining topic. A specific topic, gaining the benefit of the. You can issue the resource order to study a specific topic. Make a bastion check. The result of the roll determines the number of questions you can ask about the topic. The DM provides accurate information. That the DM answers truthfully. If the result topic period, the DM answers truthfully. Yeah, that's good enough. So I'm going to copy that real quick because we're going to see that over and over again. And honestly, it's a more concise way to write it. So it's technically better. I'm just going to kick through the list here real quick, looking for similar. We might just end up making research like a feature or something. Instead of having like a specific order that you issue to the library, we could instead just make it a facility bonus to enhance research checks instead of having it be its own research check itself, because we already have the archive that provides research answers like this. The library is just duplicating that, and it's just the same thing in a different way. So I'm thinking we're going to end up getting rid of that. But let's go through the rest of them, see where else it crops up. Oh, the observatory gives an arcane charm. Maybe that's why we got rid of it in the arcane study. That would allow us to expand on the amount of magic items. That makes more sense. I think that's true. Observatory research order in the facility to obtain to observe conversations and the interactions between constellations and the interaction between the gods or otherworldly patrons, gaining the benefits of the contact other. Interactions between gods and otherworldly patrons. Period. In terms of the number of questions you can ask. Regarding another plane of existence or its denizens. That's what we do. Oh, come on. I lost it. Apparently I saved over what I had copied. Copy. There we go. Observatory. There you go. Pub can also do research stuff. To observe conversations and overhear rumors about recent events, gaining the about recent events, local items, locations, or NPCs. Period. Space. Blah. There. More research. More research. Looking for research. Research. That's 3 things that has research. Oh wow, yeah. There's only 3 things that do research stuff. That's cool. I'm good with that. I like the observatory being able to research planar stuff. I like the archive being able to research anything ancient, and I like the pub being able to research anything current. Oh, spy network. I think there's so much stuff going with the spy network that I skipped it on accident. There it is. To gather information about people, places, and things local and abroad. Searching for sabotage or information about potential rival targets. Make a bastion check. There. And then threats. So local stuff, local current stuff, ancient stuff of whatever, planar activity, and then rivals and threats and rivals. There you go. Those are the 4 things. 4 things. Okay, that works out. Arcane Charm. We got rid of Arcane Charm for the Arcane Study, and we flipped it over to the Observatory. It's like a portent sort of thing. Magical items. Charms is specifically what we were looking at. Charms. We got rid of the Arcane Study. We got rid of Greenhouse. Kept the Meditation Chamber for Divine. Kept the Observatory for Arcane. Kept the Reliquary for Arcane, Druidic, and Divine. Or is it the Sanctum that we kept? Well, Fatal Sticks. Let's go check it out real quick. But yes, we can get rid of Arcane Charm here. Very simple, but it gets complemented by so much good stuff. Let's go look at the Sanctum real quick. Hold on, Meditation Chamber. Let's see if we can get a blessing through Meditation Chamber. Divine Charm. And what about the Sanctuary? Was Divine, Reliquary, our Charms, and the Sanctum. That's right, we removed it from the Sanctum. Okay, cool. Yeah, we removed it from the Sanctum. We kept it with Meditation Chamber. Observatory. Right, that way there's only 2 ways to get any kind of charms. The Reliquary can give you any of them. Meditation for Divine, Observatory for Arcane, and Sanctuary for Druidic. There we go. That tracks. That tracks. Cool. And so in that case, I am now much more comfortable with the archive being able to create scrolls as well as research spell other stuff. Arcane Study, creating spells. I'm super cool with that now. Yeah, that feels more balanced. Research anything in the archive. That just makes sense. I like the idea of the library not having any kind of research. I like the idea of the Am I okay with that? Library is famous for just stuff. Does it hurt to have it? I can create scrolls with the library. I gain the bonus on research. So does the archive. It's the Arcane Study. No, it's the archive that I research stuff with, but we gain advantage on the research check through the archive as well. The library. So maybe what we should do is maybe what we need to do is if a facility can issue an order, then a facility benefit should not give you advantage on that roll as well. Maybe we should have, maybe that's a good way of distinguishing like the library and the archive. Like the library doesn't allow you to research specifically on its own, but it boosts any research that you do. You need an archive to actually perform research, but it doesn't boost researching itself. That's a nice way of being able to distinguish one from the other and to keep that degree of separation. Kind of like every class has one good and one quote-unquote bad saving throw. And they never have 2 bad saving throws or 2 good saving throws because that's just the way that they designed the game. This could be similarly designed like that. I like that idea. I think what I'm going to do, instead of going through and trying to go through that conversion process right now, what I think I want to do is go into ideas. If a facility can be issued an order to do a thing, that facility, it should not also grant a bonus die to make that check. That seems like a good general rule to be able to provide balance in facilities. I kind of like that idea. So that would be like getting rid of this. Keeping this. That simplifies things. I like that. But let's go. Okay, so we've already codified everything for the language. So we figured that out. Library. So I'm just going to start making stacks of stuff here. Library. Remove the research order. So we're just going to go through, each facility and look at what's sticking out as something that feels like it's missing or needs to be changed, while also going through and codifying the way that the things are worded. Comment, remove. Remove research die. Archive. Facility benefits when, thank you, timely timer. When making a maintain check to roll an additional bastion die, ideas clarify what bonus bastion dice can affect. When making a maintain check to defend the bastion or to resolve a complication. That feels good. Specific. So like this doesn't, like the armory doesn't necessarily help maintain your lifestyle, but the maintain order is both for your lifestyle as well as defending your bastion from being damaged. So I like the feel of that. Ooh, I like where this is going. We're moving a little slowly today, and that's my fault. But I like where we're heading. The steps that we're taking, I think, are solid. When you can issue the trade order to acquire non-magical items. To acquire non-magical armor, weapon, shield, and siege machines. Or magical armaments. As we can empower to gain armaments, armor, shields. To acquire, maybe can we word it that like anything that we would be able to craft or empower normally, we could also trade. We need to have a way to distinguish. I think we'll figure this out when we actually start codifying orders properly. But we need to differentiate between crafting and trading. I think we can do that with the auction, with the auction house down below. Currently, the auction house down below allows us to auction any type of magic items, but we should probably limit it to like wondrous magic items, maybe. We'll look at the code when we get there, but I'm thinking we can implement a trade function here. But like, why wouldn't we have trade established for the arcane study? Now we're just going to be stacking a bunch of trade on shit. That doesn't feel right. I could just nip the trade function altogether, but that doesn't feel good. Let's look at how many facilities use trade already. Not an outrageous amount. The army doesn't do a lot for us. It gives us a bonus to maintain defense. So having trade to be able to acquire more magic items. But we're already crafting and empowering magic items. That feels like a conflict. You can issue the trade order to acquire non-magical armor, weapons, shields, and siege weapon machines. Yeah, let's leave it at that. But then let's pose the question over here. If I can craft or empower a thing, can that facility also trade for that thing? Like because the armory doesn't do a lot that like the smithy and the workshop can't already do. Well, it can make weapons and armor and stuff like that better than, I don't know, maybe. Auction house. This one's interesting. When making a trade check, when issuing the trade order to maintain hold on. When making a trade order to roll, when making a trade order, you can roll an additional bastion die, adding the highest roll to the result. That's super generic. I think that's okay. When issuing the trade order, you can roll an additional bastion die, adding the result, highest result, to the result of the bastion check. Now we have a trade order that's inside here already. Let's go to the storehouse. Trade order. Attendant auction. See, this feels like this should be in the auction house. The auction is held for 1 week. D20 test determines the rarity of the magic item. Okay, so I'm thinking that the storehouse shouldn't actually have any orders at all. it should instead stack up facility benefits, increasing harvest rolls, trade rolls, craft rolls, and empower rolls, because you have a shitload of resources on hand in your storehouse, but not actually be able to issue any orders to the trade house, the storehouse directly. That seems intuitive to me. I'm going to copy this real quick. And I'm also going to highlight it as a comment. Remove. And then here, add a bunch of Bastion dice. That makes sense. And let's go back to the auction house and look at the language that we have there. Because currently we have these all doing a lot of stuff. So we could thin it, like we can afford to trim it down or to make some of them more specialized. I like that idea. You see the order hirelings to attend an auction to acquire a magic item. I think this is exactly the same thing. Yeah, that's the exact same thing. And we don't need to have that in the storehouse as well. I like the idea of the storehouse being able to do all of that. Issue the trade order. So that means that we don't need to have a facility benefit necessarily. Maintain. You can issue the maintain order to auction a bastion point to earn gold. The results of the bastion test determines the % of gold value earned through the auction. Higher ranked bastions take longer to complete the auction for higher value, but a lower result. You can choose a lower result if you want to decrease the duration. There. So, value 10%, 15%, 100%, 125%, 150% value of your current bastion point level. So your rank is 1 to 5. It takes 1 week to be able to auction off a bastion point for a first rank facility, and it only earns you 100 gold pieces per point. Second rank is worth 1,000 points apiece. It takes 2 weeks. I should probably actually flip these. Second rank is worth 1,000 points apiece. It takes 2 weeks. I should probably actually flip these. Yeah, let's do it like that. Rank, value, duration. There we go. First rank, each bastion point, point value. There we go. Rank, point value, which is already in the tables up above that we showed at the beginning of the session. Point value. First rank, 100 points. Second rank, 1,000 gold. Third rank, 10,000 gold. Fourth rank, 100,000 gold. Fifth rank, 1 million gold. So the amount of time it takes to auction off a resource equals 1 week, 1 week, 1 month, 1 month, 1 season. And depending on the die roll that I get, I'm going to get a % value. So if I'm third rank and I roll a 15, I'm going to get half the value, 5,000 gold. And it'll take a month for me to do it. If instead I'd rather get 1,000 gold pieces, I could spend a week. You can choose to gain the maximum value of a lower result reducing requiring the listed duration to do so. So if I only need 10,000 gold and I've got a 4th rank facility and I roll a 20, I could get 100,000 gold. If I had rolled a 20, if I'd only rolled a 10, I could have gotten 25,000 gold. It would have cost me a month. 10,000 gold versus 25,000 gold. The difference, there's no difference. So I would just keep the 25,000 gold. If instead I only needed 1,000 gold, then the higher I roll, the quicker I can achieve my goal. So if I roll higher, I can get 100% of, like if I roll at least a 15, I can get 50% of 10,000 gold in a month, or I could spend 1 week and get 1,000 gold right away. There you go. For instance. So that jives. So maybe it's the improvements come from the orders that can be issued and the orders that can be improved as a benefit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that makes sense. Maintain orders improved. Craft, empower, and trade orders can be issued. So I mean that the improvements that we can make would be these 4. That makes sense. What about archive? We're going to get rid of that. So that leaves us with the orders of empower and research, which is empower and research. There they are. Arcane study, craft, empower, research. Craft, empower, research. There we go. That's consistent. I like that. Okay. And then we could potentially open up, if we remove some facility benefits from one, we could potentially tack them on someplace else once we sort out how all these things shake out. Oof, we got a lot of moving pieces right now. There's a lot of irons in the fire. I don't like having that much thought spread out across these, but I don't think we can help it right now. So we're looking for patterns. So we kind of have to hold multiple things at the same time while we do it. But I like that. I'm good with that. This is good. Okay, auction house, maintain and trade. Maintain order to sell off to gain gold. And then the trade order is to, you issue the trade order for hirelings to attend an auction to acquire a magic item. If the auction is held for 1 week, the D20 test determines the rarity of item available, and the DM chooses what that item is. If the result is below 10, not only is no item available, but it also creates a complication. If the character has a specific item they wish to acquire, the DC and duration to find and close the auction. To find and close the auction is determined by the rarity of the item. If the D20 test fails to close on that item, not only is the item not available, but also creates a if the D20 test fails. If the characters have a specific item that they wish to acquire, the DC and duration to find and close the auction is determined by the rarity of the item. If the D20 test fails to close on an item, not only is the item not available, but it also creates a complication. Oh, got it. So I don't need to have that there. So if I'm looking for a rare magic item, I have to hit a D20. I have to hit a DC 20, and it's going to take me a month to do it. And if I fail that 20, that month is wasted, and it generates a complication. As opposed to you issue the trade order for hirelings to attend an auction to acquire a magic item. If the auction is held for 1 week, the D20 test determines. Right, okay, so a D20 test determines the rarity of item available. So I'm just making a blind roll, and the higher I roll, the more fabulous the magic item is, but I have no control over what it's going to be. Or I can make a called shot And this only takes a week. You're issued a trade order to attend an auction to acquire a magic item. If the auction is held for 1 week, there you go, the D20 test determines the rarity of item available, and the DM chooses what that item is. If the result is below 10, not only is no item available, but it also creates a complication. If the characters have a specific item that they wish to acquire, the DC and duration to find and close the auction is determined by the rarity of the item. If the D20 test fails to close on that item, not only is the item not available, but also creates a complication. Okay, and then the rarity of magic item that can be obtained this way is determined by the rank of the Bastion. Once the result of the auction is determined, you can choose to sacrifice a Bastion point. I don't like that at all. You can choose to sacrifice a Bastion point to a... once the result of the auction is determined, you can choose to sacrifice 1 Bastion point to purchase the magic item. There we go. So this is going to cost you Bastion points to get magic items. I like that. That keeps the gold out of our hands. We want to, if we have gold, we want to spend on gaining Bastion points. We can have spare Bastion points specifically to spend for things like this. But that's okay. I'm good with this. Trade and maintain. I'm good with that. That tells me, though, that we want to get rid of the trade order. Hold on. When issuing the trade order to obtain materials or non-magical items, that's not bad. I like that. We're going to get rid of that. We don't have any there. Okay. Yeah, I think that's the way to go with a specific type, like. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. When issuing the maintain order to defend the Bastion or resolve a complication. There we go. That makes sense. I like that. So this would be... So I could keep the facility benefit if that benefit doesn't affect the order that I'm issuing. So it couldn't be any maintain order. It couldn't be any trade order. When issuing the trade order to obtain materials or non-magical items, that's a specific caveat, which is a condition that you have to think about and keep track of. But I kind of like that. I do. I like that better than getting rid of stuff. But again, looking here. The only kind of research orders I would give is to find out information, which I can actually do as an order. So yeah, that is a redundancy that should be removed. That also simplifies these things a lot. I like that. Cool. Okay, great. So yeah, I think that's okay. I think that's actually okay. That was the wrong button, Kearney. This is unique. This is unique. They're probably just going to stay put. And it's just going to be bulky. I'm going to be okay with it. Barracks. Maintain, recruit order. You can issue the recruit order to hire a number of CR1 half soldier loyal to the Bastion to defend it. Period. The DC to recruit the soldiers and max amount and the maximum amount recruited that can defend the bastion is determined by your bastion rank. You must have sufficient space to retain your soldiers as listed for each rank. So, hey, what's up? No, we just reworded it. So that it's just, you ask a question, roll the die to determine how many questions you can ask, the DM answers truthfully. That leaves it open. But yeah, I could not find the spell that provided that specific language. I know it exists. It's probably a third edition mechanic, and I just keep thinking it's a 5th edition thing. Yeah. But yeah, I could not find it. So let's see. We're using the recruit order here to fetch soldiers. So when making a recruit order cannot have recruits benefit. So when making a when issuing the maintain order to defend the bastion or to resolve a complication, you can blah, blah, blah. Maintain and recruit. Recruit order, maintain benefits, resolved. My fingers are all over the place today, man. I cannot hit the key that I want to save my life, man. I am broken. Barks. Empower, harvest, maintain. When issuing, you know what? I'm going to remove that. I'm going to take away the improvement of maintain. And I'm going to remove maintain from the list in general. We're just going to leave with empower and harvest. Once per day, you can undead magic stuff. Craft. It says empower and harvest. I'm going to remove. Empower is here for the facility benefits. That's a thing. I see it. But I'm going to remove craft. It just feels simpler, more simple. And I want to have at least have two. I want everything to have at least 2 improvements. So that's going to keep. I'm good with that. Yeah, that makes it simple. We can now we can harvest undead in our crypt to make. We can harvest bodies to make undead. And that resolves the crypt. So that's pretty smooth and easy. Demiplane. How are we doing on time? Okay, we still got about 40 minutes. We're good. I like this. This is coming along well. Crafted in power. Facility benefits. Reduce the time to craft non-magical items by 1 degree. Reduce the time to empower magic. See, this is redundant language, so maybe it should just be reduce the time to craft and empower, to craft non-magical items and empower magical items. Reduce the time to craft and empower non/magical items by 1 degree as listed on the table below. The rarity of items created this way is limited by we don't need to do that. Reduce the time to craft and power. We're missing a point. Hold on. Can increase the size of facilities without increasing the size of the bastion. That is a benefit. The demiplane increases the size of facilities, increases the size of the bastion. The demiplane can how do I want to word this? You can put facilities inside of the demiplane, and doing so doesn't increase the size of the bastion. The demiplane can be used to house facilities without increasing the size of the bastion. There we go. Each bastion point spent to improve this facility increases the size of the demiplane as listed below. There. You can you can create multiple demiplanes, each increasing in size separately. This should be first. Reduce the time when a facility creates an item. When a facility creates an item, if the entire facility is inside a demiplane, reduce the time required to create the item by 1 degree as listed. God, that language sucks. When a facility that can be issued the craft or when a facility can craft non-magical items or empower magical items, if the entire facility is inside a demiplane, reduce the time required to create the item by 1 degree as listed on the table below. If it would normally take a year, it only takes a season. If it would normally take a season, it takes a month. If it would normally take a month, it takes a week. If it normally takes a week, it takes a day. If it normally takes a day, it only takes 8 hours, which you can do 3 times per day. There you go. And any facilities that grant additional bastion dice when making a bastion check must any facility that grants additional bastion die when making a bastion check must also be inside a demi-plane to benefit to benefit a check made inside a demiplane. That's horrible language, but it's accurate. You know? And that codifies the demiplane. Very simple, but by the time you get to 5th rank, you're throwing around, you've got nothing but points to throw around at that point. You're just accumulating them to burn them. So spending on something extravagant like a demiplane to reduce your carbon footprint in this reality is a worthwhile goal. Blackrock Unite. Craft and empowerment. Yeah, technically it improves those things. So yeah, craft and empowerment, that makes sense. Okay. I need to give these things snazzy titles so we can separate them. Define innocuous. Not harmful or offensive. It was an innocuous question. Synonym for subtle. Fine drawn, ultra fine, nice, override, minute, precise, narrow, tenuous, hair splitting, indistinct, indefinite, elusive, abstruse, minuscule, low key, toned down, subdued, delicate, crafty, cunning. Nah, none of these are jiving. I want to come up with cool names for each of these features. We'll come up with them. We'll come up with them. Gaming Hall. When making a maintain check when issuing the maintain order to determine the lifestyle of the bastion, you can roll an additional bastion die. There you go. So order is trade This affects, wow, we're doing pretty good here. I'm liking this so far. This is really clicking. Trade, when you issue the trade order, sacrifice one Bastion point. You can succeed. If you succeed the Bastion test, you gain one additional Bastion point. If you fail the roll, you lose the Bastion point. Reduce the quality of the Bastion lifestyle by 1 degree and create a complication. The DC of the Bastion test is determined by the rank of the Bastion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Bastion. That works. I don't know. Maybe we'll leave these. Maybe we'll leave these things here. Garden improvements. Craft, harvest, maintain. Harvest, maintain, and craft. Create a non-magical item. See the magic list below. Harvest. Provide plant materials for crafting items. We have the maintain order here for improvements. Do we? I can't have the harvest benefit improve harvesting in general. The order that we have is like we can make poisons, medicine kits, and stuff like that with the order. With the craft order. Harvest is to gather plant materials for crafting items with. Those are pretty basic. So, but we don't have anything to harvest other than gathering materials. So I'm thinking if I'm going to, do I need to keep the maintain order? That's the question. We have some maintain orders, not as many as others. If I were to, come on. If I were to drop maintain from the garden, what would we really feel like we were losing there? I don't think like we're actually losing anything there. That feels fairly safe to do. I don't even have it listed here, so obviously that was what I was supposed to do. So yeah, we can get rid of that. And we can get rid of that. And that's already bolded, so we can get rid of that. We don't have any facility benefits now. Do I like that though? We have craft. We already have craft and harvest. Very simple. Gardens are basic. Very, very basic. If it's too thin, we can always come back and add something to it. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to figure out how we're stripping things down and resolving stuff. So far, this is all working out pretty well. Where are our bolds that we need to comment on? To defend the Bastion, yeah, that's very specific. We're keeping that. We've already determined that being specific about what the facility benefits are is beneficial to the system overall. So we want to do that. Here we have remove. And we've already determined, yes, we want to remove that. So this isn't going to have any, yeah, this doesn't have any facility benefits either. Interesting. But we can make all sorts of magic items, so I'm super cool with that. Yeah, I'm good with that. And that's everything. Okay, cool. No, this is panning out. I'm really happy with this. This has, what does this have? This has 2 things going for it. This has 1, 2, 3, 4 things going for it. So maybe we need to get rid of trade because that's a lot of stuff we got. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 as opposed to 2 over here. 1, 2, 3 things here. This has 1, 2 things going for it. This has 1, 2. Yeah, this has 2 things going for it. This has 1. Two things going for it. This has 1, 2 things going for it. This has 2 things going for it. This has 2 things going for it. I'm seeing a consistent theme here right now that there's like 2 or 3 things that things can do. So that's making me think that we don't need to have trade for the armory. 1, 2, 3, because that puts us at 4. That's a lot of stuff. We trim trade off of that. That brings that further down. Yeah, I don't think we necessarily need trade. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Let's just be bold. Now let's go down to the storehouse. Auction house and store. Let's look at the auction house. 1, 2, 3. Why limit it? It could be a non-magical item or it could be a magical item. That opens up the door for the auction house to get us literally anything that we want. Now, should that just be for magic items? Because any random thing, I think it should just be magical items, because that's always useful. A magical item. Yeah. But then, if the characters have a specific non or magical item they wish to acquire, there. Let's make it separate. If the characters have a specific non or magical item they wish to acquire, yeah, that works. Barracks. 1, 2, 2 things. Maintain order to defend the bastion, and we resolve that. Crypt, 1, 2, we resolve that. Demi-plane, 1, 2, we resolve that. Gaming hall. Maintain order to determine lifestyle of the bastion. That's 1, and then orders trade. When you issue the trade order, sacrifice 1 bastion point. Bastion rank, trade DC. Test BC. No, trade DC. That's good enough for now. We're gonna standardize that language, but not yet. 1 and 2. So there's that. Government improves benefits when making a maintain check. No, we're going to get rid of that. Thank you, Timely Timer. 20 minutes left. We're doing good. We're actually, I don't know, maybe we'll just do more of this tomorrow at lunchtime. I'm having fun. When making a trade check, you can roll an additional Bastion die, adding the highest roll to the result of the check. When issuing the trade order to acquire materials or non-magical items, you can roll an additional Bastion die, adding the highest results. Maintain check, order. Maintain, you can issue the maintain order to govern a settlement as detailed in the settlement section below. The maximum size and population of settlement you can govern is determined by the number of bastion points you expend to improve the maintain order through this facility. That's a little clunky. The maximum size and population of settlement you can govern is determined by the number of bastion points you expend to improve the maintain order through this facility. No, I want to reword that. That's clunky. It's an order, so we want to make it a... If it was a passive ability, it wouldn't require a die roll. But because it's an order, it has to be a skill challenge of some sort. So instead, we're going to go with... you can issue the maintain order to govern a settlement as detailed in the settlement section below. The maximum size and population of settlements you can govern. The maximum size and population of settlement you can govern. The difficulty of governing the settlement is determined by the size and population. By its size and population. Size and population, period. As listed below. Size of settlement, max population, test, DC, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And if you fail the die roll, you create a complication that has to be resolved for you to be able to govern the city properly, the settlement properly. There. Now we've divorced the ranks and skill bonuses that we have of the government from the actual settlement itself. The settlement itself dictates how difficult it is. God, that feels real. 1, 2, and 1, 2. This is working out to be 2 or 3 things per bastion. This is... I mean, we're not all the way through the list yet, but so far, this is working really smoothly. Facility benefits. When making a harvest check, we have harvest down here. So, craft, empower. You can issue the harvest order to gather plant material for crafting items. So we're going to get rid of the facility benefit and just go with crafting orders. Order, craft. You can issue the craft order to create non-magical items as listed below. Empower. You can issue the empower order to craft magical items. Charms. Oh wait, we can't do druidic charms anymore. Potions? Yeah. Harvest. You can issue, wait. Relics. Druidic. That feels right. That's got him list. Sacristy makes relics. Now we're going to get rid of that. Potions. 1, 2, 3, but very limited stuff. I'm good with that. Craft and power harvest. Cool. Guild Hall. 1, 2, 3, 4, freaking 5 things. Recruit, recruit, recruit. Well, you can recruit people, so you can't use your bastion, so you can't have recruit as a facility benefit. We're making a trade check. I'm starting to feel like the guild hall should be able to issue the order to trade. Because we're really starting to limit what things can trade at all. So that'd be recruit, trade, and then we'd have craft. We could remove empower. That would bring us down to 3. Yeah, we're going to remove empower from the list. I don't know. What do we think? Empower, or guild hall to make deals and trade with? That kind of makes sense. I kind of like that. This reduces the dramatic power curve on empower a bit. I like that. Guild hall. Craft, recruit, and trade. When issuing, craft makes a lot of sense. When issuing a craft order to create non-magical items, and then if we get rid of trade, because we already get trade from the government, right? Trade order to acquire materials or non-magical items. Yeah, I like that. So remove the bastion die from trade and instead make it an order. And the order is that you can trade you can trade to get anything. That feels like a very guild hall sort of thing to be able to do. Trade. you can issue the trade order to acquire materials or non-magical items. Non/magical items. The difficulty is determined by the rarity of item. You cannot acquire magical items above the rank of your bastion. This way. Bastion. Rarity. Rank. DC. Common. Uncom. Rare. Rare. Legendary. And rarity, let's go with value. Rarity, value, so the way that non-magical items works is, yeah, you can find like a single item, like a sword is like 8 gold, right? Or 10 gold. Say a sword is 10 gold. Obviously, you can find one. It's pretty easy to trade for one sword, but first rank Bastion has a max gold value it can trade as 100 gold because of its common level. That would mean 10 swords. While a legendary, a 5th rank Bastion could trade 20,000 swords. It'd be a lot more difficult to find someone to do it with, but you can. And again, you don't necessarily have to pay any gold to get this. It's just something that you get as part of the cost of doing business. Like, you automatically have the amount of funds to be able to do this because it's an order that you're issuing. It's tying up your guild resources, which is order is a meta currency, which technically has a gold value. And at 5th rank, that gold value is 1,000,000 gold per resource, per bastion point. And you can spend a bastion point to issue an order. So the effective cost or the effective value of that order that you give is worth 1,000,000 gold. If you mobilized Boros, like the Boros Legion, to attack Gruul, and you are issuing that order as a 5th rank facility, you're basically mobilizing 1,000,000 gold worth of resources to attack. That's like Parhelion 2, 1,000 angels, and like 10,000 troops. Like, that's worth 1,000,000 gold ish. Yeah, ish. You cannot acquire magical items above the rank of your bastion. We're going. You know what? Maybe we're going to remove. We're going to remove that from trade. By the value. There. That makes sense. So trade, recruit, craft. 3 things. Ooh. What if the number of things, if we're calling like benefits and orders, if we're calling those things, what if the number of things that you can have is equal to the rank plus 1? So like a greenhouse has 3 things that it can do, so maybe a greenhouse should only be 2nd rank. A guild hall has 1, 2, 3 things that it can do. Maybe a guild hall should be 3rd rank. Government, 1, 2. It has 2 things that it can do. Maybe it should be 2nd rank that you can start doing government stuff. No, 2 things is 1st rank. 1, 2, 3, that's 2nd rank. 1, 2, 3, that's 2nd rank. It's already listed as 2nd rank. This would drop this would drop greenhouse to 2nd rank. Maybe. It's an idea. It's an idea. How are we doing on time? I've got like 5 minutes left. So we'll get through. So we got through the guild hall. Seems like that processed okay. Again, let's look here again. Recruit. You can issue the recruit order to attract a specialist hireling that can improve the bastion die of any one order without increasing the size of the facility. You gain 1 specialist for each bastion point spent to improve the recruit order this way, each improving. You gain 1 specialist for each bastion point spent to improve the recruit order this way. No, we're going to you gain 1 specialist for each bastion point spent to improve the guild hall. Each improving the bastion die of a different order. The DC of the recruit order corresponds to the bastion die gained. The DC of the recruit order corresponds to the bastion die gained from the specialist. Limited by the rank of the bastion, as listed below. Die size, max rank 1. DCs tend to attract someone that could do that without increasing the size of your facility. You wouldn't need to increase the size of your facilities with 1st ranks. That's kind of redundant. But you do... Hold on. You could hire a specialist, like a specialist researcher, without having a research facility at all. But without a facility, there's no orders to issue. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so you still have to have a facility. But you could have no points put into, like I could have a smithy and not have any points put into empower, and then hire a specialist for the smithy with 1 rank of empower. So now I could empower items through the smithy with my specialist, even though I didn't spend any points on empowering through the smithy at all. There you go. That makes sense. Craft, empower, research. What are we getting? Issue the craft order. Craft, empower, research. But we can already craft over here. Empower order. You can issue the empower order to craft magical items, potions. Craft, empower. Let's get rid of research. And replace it with harvest. Yeah, we're going to get rid of that. Thank you. We're going to remove the craft check. When making, when issuing the harvest order to acquire mineral. When issuing the harvest order to acquire materials, no specific type of material, it's just processing. There, that makes that nice and broad. I like that. So Empower got rid of research. Laboratory, we got rid of research. We kept harvest. That feels really good. That doesn't feel good. We'll figure that out. But I'm really happy with that. That feels really good. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Laboratory, 3rd rank. Okay. Library, we already went over this. When making a research check, you can, when issuing the research order. And this is just a universal, there is no stipulations or limitations on this. Hold on. When issuing the research order to discover information, as opposed to, there's 2 ways that you issue the research order. It's to either discover information or to resolve a complication that requires you to discover information. So, so it's either resolving complications or its primary function, or resolving complications that can be resolved through its primary function. So technically it's the same thing. No, you know what? Honestly, yeah. I don't need to limit it. Yeah, both of those are really fun. So when issuing the research order, library can help, but you can't research through a library alone. You need an archive or something else. There. And you have the generic. If it's an order that you can issue, then as a downtime activity, your character can perform that order personally, gaining the Bastion die without requiring an order to do so. So, there's that. Orders. There we go. I like this. I like this simplification process. This feels really, really good. Downtime activity. The character spends a Bastion turn in the library researching a topic. You can add a Bastion die to the results of your ability check. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Like this is just something that's going to be universal. So it's barely even worth mentioning, but I'll probably include it in everything just to include it. 1, 2. God, this has 2 things too. This is actually working out pretty well. Wait. Recruit. Okay, we're going to stop here. We're going to pick it up here next time. Continue here. So how many of these get through? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 things. And then we've got how many to go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, we got through 20 today. And we have 20 more to go. I've got, okay, so I'm going to be back tomorrow morning. We're going to do more Eberron artwork. I'll be back at probably a late lunch, maybe like around 2 o'clock. 1 or 2 o'clock Seattle time is what I'm expecting. And then I'm not 100% sure on what we're going to work on. Maybe we'll work on, I was thinking about spell point sorcerers. I'm still thinking about this, but we're going to be back on Monday to do more of this. Tomorrow's going to be my last day. I'm dropping my Saturday morning stream for now, because I am using that Saturday morning, to, build the mega dungeon that we're playtesting with. I'm finding that when I wake up in the morning and I work on the mega dungeon, it puts me in a good headspace to DM a mega dungeon later on that day. So tomorrow will be the end of the week for us. I'll be running mega dungeon on my Discord channel on Saturday. And then we'll be back on Monday morning, more Eberron art, and then Monday night like this will be on. We'll continue, and maybe we'll be able to get through the rest of these 20, because I'll have less preamble now that I know what we're actually doing, and we have a pattern of behavior that we're trying to replicate. I shouldn't have as much ramp up time with just yammering about stuff, because half the time I yammer because I'm trying to figure out what's going on, like where am I trying to focus my attention. Half the time that's what yammering helps me do is lock in on that focus. But I think next time we do this on Monday, I won't need any yammer time. We should be able to just to dive right into it. So 3 hours that's like one every 8 minutes ish. We should be able to process that. So that's it for now, guys. I'm gonna bounce out of here. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me, dudes. Anyone that's new to the channel, like, subscribe, bell icons to check out what we got going on. The Color Mana books, the core mechanics just went gold. Thank you to whoever it is that purchased the Color Mana spell point variant rules I have on DMsGuild. But all my books are you can look at them down below. They're all free previews. If I publish them, if my name is the publisher, then it's 100% free previews. The Subclasses Revivified isn't 100% preview, but that's not my book. I don't control that. But I did participate in it, and it is pretty cool. So I made all the monks. So check that out. Yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Later, guys. Cheers.